What's up, family? Man, I was asked in one of the comments, I was doing a live on Sunday, and one of the subscribers asked, how do you cut off family? How do you cut off or you eliminate your ties with toxic family members? And that got me spinning, it got my mind thinking. One of the things that I was talking about on Sunday was, dealing with anger, overcoming our anger, understanding our anger. And one of the things that God had to show me, years ago was that, again, you guys know my story, you know what I mean? But I grew up hating my father, you know what I mean? Stay with me, I'm going somewhere. It's going to be profound today. I grew up hating my dad. I grew up hating my family. I grew up hating my life. I grew up hating me. You know what I mean? I hated me. And one thing that God had to show me was, Elijah, you hate your daddy. You hate your family. That's the only reason why you joined the military and got as far away from your family as you could. That's the reason why you legally changed your name, because you didn't want to be like your dad. You didn't want to be named after your daddy anymore. And so you paid all this money to legally change your name. Why? Because the hatred ran deep. God had to show me, it's like, Elijah, get you a stick. And I grabbed a stick. That's it. He said, now cut off the left part of it. The left part represents your family. The right part of the stick represents you, your future. Stay with me. The left part of the stick, it represents your daddy, your mama, everybody you can't stand, everybody that's fucked you over, everybody that's hurt you in your family. Everybody that's spoken curses over your life. Everybody that said you stupid, you dumb, you got the devil in you, you ain't gonna amount to nothing, you're gonna be in the pen for the rest of your life, or dead before you're 18. That's the left side of the stick. Cut them off. So I got this stick, and man, I cut the left part off. And God said, what do you see? I said, I see a stick. He said, Elijah, it don't matter how much of that stick you cut off. Again, there's a left side. There's a right side. No matter how much of this stick you cut off, I could cut it off right here. I'm still going to have a left side and a right side. Let me say it again. No matter how much of this stick you cut off, to cut off your past, to cut off your family members, to cut off your daddy, to cut off your mama, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, your brothers, no matter how much of the stick you cut off from your past, no matter how much of this stick you cut off representing your family, no matter how much of this stick you cut off representing your anger. Man, I want to cut anger out of my life. I'm going to just cut it off. I don't want to be angry no more, so I'm going to cut it off. No matter how much of this stick you cut off, you're always going to have a left side and a right side. And what God had to show me, Elijah, you could cut the stick off all the way over here. You could cut it down to an inch, and you're still going to have a left and a right side. And I'm like, I don't get it. What are you trying to say? What does that mean? Elijah, you can't cut these people out of your fucking life. Elijah, you can't cut anger and hatred out of your life. It is what it is. It's who you are. It's a part of you. You can't have a future and not have a past. How the hell can you go into the future? How can you have a future and you not have a past? It's who you are. It's what you are. See, you're looking at the wrong shit, Elijah. You're fixated on the people. You're fixated on the anger. Learn to flip that shit. Learn to change your perspective. It's not the people that's hurt you. Stay with me. It's not the anger that hurts you. It's your attachment to those people. It's your attachment to that anger. It's your attachment to the circumstances and the events and the things that you've gone through. Once I had to realize, dang, my father rejected me over and over. My father, man, I wasn't good enough for him. My father murdered my mom. But that's not all my father was. My father was so much more than just that. Yes, he caused me great harm. Yes, he caused me great pain and suffering. But he was so much more than just that. The problem was every time I saw my daddy, I saw the pain he caused me. Every time I heard his voice, I saw the pain that he caused me. And because I saw him as that was my attachment to my father. That's all I identified my daddy as. That's all I identified my family as. My family, the Christian family that raised me, my auntie that raised me, man, she was cruel, verbally and physically abusive, emotionally unattached. But she was more than that. As long as I saw her as that non-attached, emotionally and physically abusive being, I hated her. I despised her. I want nothing to do with her. But when I flipped it, and God showed me the pain that she was going through, and God showed me the lack of understanding that she had and the traumas that she was dealing with. When I began to see her as something other than just a person who perpetuated this pain and suffering in my life, when I began to see her as this 23-year-old lady now raising 5 kids, 3 of whom wasn't even hers. As a single parent now, she's raising 5 kids. She's dealing with the fact that her husband was physically and verbally abusive to her and they get a divorce. She's dealing with the fact that her husband, the love of her life, is now gone. And she's left raising 5 kids all by herself. I'm 23 years old. Don't know who the hell she is. Don't know her purpose yet. Don't know why she's here. And so she turns to religion to find some type of identity. She turns to religion to find some type of answers, to get some help. And it really didn't help her. It gave her something to focus on, but it didn't help her deal with and heal her issues. So as long as I fixated myself on my auntie, this mean person who was always tearing me down, always telling me that I wasn't shit, always making me feel like I was shit, always making me feel like I was a problem for her. I was an inconvenience to her. As long as I fixated on that, I didn't want shit to do with her. I hated her. God had to show me, Elijah, at 23 years old, you were struggling raising 2 kids. You was a single father of 2 kids when you were 23 years old. You know how hard that struggle was. Those were your biological kids. Your auntie was raising 5 kids. And 3 of y'all had issues coming from your daddy. Her oldest was hard of hearing. So 4 out of the 5 kids had some trauma, had some issues. And you mad at her for how she raised you. You mad at her for how she was. Never taking into consideration, damn, look at what she was dealing with. Elijah, when you was 23, you was doing the best you could to raise your 2 kids. As fucked up as you was, as twisted as you was, as hurt as you was doing your damnedest to make sure they didn't go through the pain and suffering you went. You was doing your damnedest to make sure they had something to eat and clean clothes to wear and whoop. You did all that you could to provide for them the best way that you could. And yet, you can't think, you can't see that your auntie was doing the same thing for the 5 of y'all. Yes, the power got cut off sometimes. Yes, y'all didn't have food to eat sometimes. Yes, she came home from work angry and frustrated and took it out on y'all. Yes, she was isolating you guys from her. And yes, she was emotionally detached from y'all. And yes, she wasn't affectionate to y'all. And yes, she was abusive and verbally abusive and physically abusive to y'all. Yes, she was all those things, but she was trying the best she could. And your ungrateful ass sitting here with your self-righteousness and your arrogance, mad because she didn't do better, mad because she wasn't a better person. And so now you want to cut her the fuck off. Karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch. You reap what you sow. Now you got kids. Just 2. And you going through the same shit she was going through. And you can't handle it. And you smoking and drinking and fucking and doing all kind of shit to help you cope with the fucking pain and the stress you was dealing with. She tried to live a righteous life by getting caught up in the church. She wasn't smoking and drinking and fornicating. She wasn't out partying and hoeing. You can't cut your past off. You can't cut your anger out. It's part of who you are. Accept that shit. Embrace that shit. Learn the lessons from it. Yes, you don't have to stay connected to all these people who hurt you. You don't have to allow their negative energy to be around you all the time. But you can learn the lesson from them without hating them. You can learn the lesson of their life without demonizing them and ostracizing them and belittling them and minimizing them. Just because they're family don't mean you have to stay intimately connected to them. Just because they're your daddy, your mama, your auntie, your son, don't mean you have to stay connected with them. That's your choice now that you're grown. What frequency are you going to ride on? Are you going to keep staying on that low vibration frequency because that's what your family operate on? Or are you going to say, oh, no, I can't do this. I'm not operating on that low frequency anymore. And I don't care who like it and who don't like it. I don't care what they think about me. They could think I'm all that. They could think that I'm acting like I'm too good, whatever the case they want. I don't care. I'm not operating on that low frequency anymore. It don't mean that I think I'm better than them. It just means, man, I'm trying to do better. When you know more or you know better, you have to do better. I can't cut the left side of the stick off and then eliminate the left side of the stick. No matter how much of this stick I cut, there's always going to be a left side of the stick. I'm always going to have my past. I'm always going to have my anger. And the thing is, how do I take my past? How do I take my anger and use it for my benefit so that I can reach my full potential and walk into my purpose? How do I take my anger and my past and help use that energy to become all that I can be so that my purpose, so that my life can reach its full potential? Learn the lessons. Learn the lessons. Stop being so judgmental. Stop being so judgmental. No, I don't have to stay connected to my auntie. I'm not. But I don't hate her. I don't dislike her. I don't look down on her anymore. I just don't have anything to do with her. And I make that choice, and that choice has been made not because I hate her, not because I think I'm better than her, not because of any of that stupid stuff, but because she chooses to operate on a low frequency. That's her life, that's her choice. I'm not mad at her for that choice. I look at her as a role model. What I don't want to be like. I thank God for her being in my life. I thank God for how she is now still. Why? Because it's a reminder to me of what I don't want to be like. And so because I don't want to be negative like this, because I don't want to be toxic like this, because I don't want to operate on a low frequency like this, God allows these toxic people to stay around my life. Why? As a reminder of what I could be if I go back down that path. And so it's a constant reminder to me of, man, I got to keep pushing. I got to keep dealing with my issues. I got to keep working on me. I'll never arrive in this lifetime. I got to keep dealing with my pain and my trauma. I got to keep flipping the energy and using it and making it productive. Because if I don't, I'm going to be just like that. I'm going to be toxic just like that. I'm going to be negative just like that. And that's not what I want for me. That's not why I came here. And so instead of looking at all these people and have been so angry and hateful towards them, I give God thanks for showing me a better way. Man, Elijah, if you don't deal with your issues, it don't matter how much you run. You can run to Southeast Asia. You can run to Africa. You can run to Europe. You can run to South America. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, if you don't deal with your issues, you can't outrun your problems. No matter where you go, you're going to take that baggage with you. No matter who you hook up with, you're going to take that baggage with you. No matter how much money you get, you're going to take that baggage with you. So you better deal with your shit and learn to transmute that energy. So no matter where you go, no matter who you're connected to, no matter where you're at, no matter how much money you have or how little money you have, man, you can always have peace. You can always have joy. You can always have happiness. You can always have self-love. Why? Because you're dealing with your shit and you've learned how to transmute that less than mentality, how to transmute that lack mentality, how to transmute that victim mentality, how to transmute that hate frequency. Stop wanting and expecting everybody to be like you. Everybody's not going to be like you. Everybody's not going to live like you. Some people are here to show us what we could be like if we don't get our shit straight. Some people are here are so much more spiritual than us to help show us, hey, what you can be like if you deal with your shit. So stop expecting everybody to think like you. Stop expecting everybody to respond to situations like you. And understand, some people here to show you, man, I don't want to be toxic anymore. I don't want to be full of hate anymore. I don't want to be full of anger anymore. I don't want to be full of unforgiveness anymore. And then there's other people here that's full of love, that's full of light, joy, peace, happiness. And their role is the same as those other toxic people's role. Man, to show you what your life can be like. So we look at all these gurus and we're like, man, they're so spiritual. Man, they're so woke. Man, they got that God conscious. They got that Christ conscious. They got that Buddha conscious. Man, I want to be like them. And then you got all these other people that's like, oh man, they're so toxic. They're so negative. They're so hateful. And both are the same. They're both the stick. The God conscious, the unforgiving. The Christ conscious, the Buddha conscious, the hateful. The low vibing, the low frequency people. It's all the same stick. And no matter how much you cut off that stick, you're going to have a left side and a right side. You're always going to have the unvibrating or the low vibrating, the hateful, the unforgiving, the toxic, and you're always going to have the love, the beacon, the joy, and all the other stuff. Why? Because that's balance. That's balanced living. That's natural law. That's universal law. In the day, in your 24 hours a day, you're always going to have dark. In your 24-hour day, you're always going to have darkness. And you're always going to have light. You can't have 24-hour day without having darkness and light. I talk about the yin yang, the darkness and the light. They make a whole. They make a circle. And so it is with us. Stop trying to cut everybody off. Stop trying to detach from everybody and learn to detach your emotional attachment to them. And the emotional attachment is, how do you see them? If all you see them as is negativity and okay, man, I need to check on that. Because they're more than just that. My auntie was more than just that negative religious person who said all that stupid shit to me. She clothed me the best she could. She fed me the best she could. She housed me the best she could. She did the best she could. She was a role model to me. My job is to learn to see the lesson. Learn to see the lesson. Your job is to learn to see the less. In whatever situation you're going through, whatever family member, whatever toxic ass person you're dealing with, your job is to see the lesson. And don't just see the person you're breaking up with as has been so toxic and so hateful, because they're more than just that. I've been divorced too. I've had women cheat on me and leave me too. They're more than just that, my emotional attachments to them. They're more than just my feelings of disgust and hate towards them. They had some good qualities too. But in my pain, I chose to get fixated on their toxic shit. Man, I had to grow up and understand they weren't just toxic. They had good sides to them too. They had some good qualities to them too. As fucked up as I saw my dad, as twisted and evil as I saw my father, I had to grow up and understand he has some good qualities too. He has some good characteristics too. Don't get stuck in the pain that all you see is the evil shit. Don't get stuck in the pain to all you see is their brokenness and their issues. Because the truth is, every one of us have good and darkness within us. Every one of us have a left and a right side to us. Every single one of us. Man, my hope and prayer is that something has been said to help you understand. Stop being so quick to cut people off. Stop being so quick to try to change your past and cut your past off. Because the truth is, you can't cut your past off. I'm living a living witness. I legally changed my name. I joined the military, went to other countries. Why? To get as far away as possible. Why? To cut my fucking past off. And no matter how far you run, your past is always with you. No matter how far you run, your pain, your anger, your hatred, your unforgiveness is always right there with you. You can't outrun your problems. All you can do is learn the lesson from them. And when you learn the lesson from them, you receive the blessing from them. There's a blessing in every lesson. There's a blessing in every circumstances. There's a blessing in every situation we go through. Every single situation. Again, this is coming from somebody who saw his mother murdered when he was 2 years old. Who was sexually molested twice by the age of 6. Who had been rejected by his own biological father, who was betrayed and dogged out by his own siblings. And although I have sisters that I don't talk to, I don't talk to them because I hate them and because I don't want nothing to do with them. I don't talk to them because they're full of madness. They're full of chaos and bullshit. and to each their own. I'm not mad at them because they're attached to that low frequency shit. I just choose not to be a part of that madness. I just choose not to be a part of that hate, of the foolishness. Just like as a married man, I don't go to strip clubs. I don't go to bars and clubs and all these other things where there's going to be a whole bunch of single women showing their ass and all this. I don't put myself in those situations. Not because I think I'm better than them people. Not because I look at them as being less than me or anything. I don't put myself in that situation because I know who I am. Because I'm happy and fulfilled with the woman I have. I don't want to lose what I have. So I'm not out there chasing ass. I'm not out there getting drunk where anything can happen. We have to grow up. We have to grow up emotionally. We have to grow up intellectually. We have to grow up spiritually. And when you grow up, you become thankful. You become thankful for all the things you've experienced. Because you understand that those things have helped mold you and shape you into who you are today. Had you not gone through those things, you wouldn't be who you are today. You wouldn't have the knowledge, the wisdom, and the insight that you have today. You wouldn't have the clarity of your life and of your purpose had you not gone through all of that madness, all of that chaos. Man, I love you guys. Happy healing. Peace.